Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to see you all here. I saw that this topic is a super popular topic, so thanks for joining us. First of all, before we get started though, can we just give a huge shout out to the way this year has started off with Gina, just doing an awesome job with her presentation and getting us motivated on a positive note. And then Ashley and Joe's presentation last week on scheduling success. We just have an awesome group here, and I'm so happy and proud, if you will, to be a part of this. And I just thank you all for being a part of this too, because that's why we're here. We're here for you. And I'm not going to lie, I'm here for me too. But anyway, I just wanted to give a shout out to the way this year has started out already. So way to go. So the topic that I wanted to talk about is recruiting or enrolling, I should say. I try and be really careful with my language, but enrolling and being a superstar at enrolling and just letting that be part of your lifestyle every day, part of what part of your everyday language, part of your everyday routine, things that you do every day. But to do that, I want to talk about motivation first. So before we go into really doing what you have to do to get people to enroll, I want to talk about motivation. So motivation has a half-life. And so after 72 hours, people lose their motivation. It's kind of like harvesting fruit before it rots. So you have like 3 days. And what you want is it's like a roller coaster. So you go, you have the ups and, when they're really excited they've just heard about this, the essential oils, and they're really excited and they want to come on board. And then they don't, something gets, is a hang up. I don't get paid until next week. Or, I need to run this by my husband, or, my car just broke down. So that takes I have to put money towards that. And so you have this roller coaster effect when they're on a high, and then if we don't catch them right away, they drop down to where it's not so important and it takes a back seat. And so what we want to do is hijack that roller coaster. So we want to keep them on track. We want to, tell them about the oils, and really you want to do everything you can to get them started at that first appointment, whether it's a class, whether it's a phone call, regardless of what it is, you want to get them enrolled at that very first connection, because always things get in the way. And then what happens? They go down that roller coaster, and you want to make sure that you get to them before they get to the bottom of that. What we like to do is keep like an even keel. So the roller coaster goes like this, and you want to be that even line throughout there. So you want to make sure that you're always giving them information, that you're connecting with them, whether that be a text, an email, social media, whatever you're doing. That's where our groups in social media come in handy, our Instagrams, Facebooks, because we're constantly feeding them information and giving them that motivation, keeping that high on their priority list. Does that make sense? Can you all relate to that roller coaster that, when they're excited and then they, something happens and they just, drop down, and now it doesn't take a priority? I'm sure that's happened to many of you. So that's the first thing that I want to talk about, is just to make sure that we are on top of that roller coaster. So how many of you have been someplace out and about and you meet someone and they ask you what you do? What do you say? Give me an example. Tell me something that you say when somebody asks you what you do? Nobody wants to speak up?
I do.
Okay.
I always do, Stephanie. First, I say I've been a musician all my life, but in the last 3 years, I've started sharing essential oils because they are amazing.
Awesome. I love that. Short and sweet and to the point. So that's what I'm looking for. You know, I get asked all the time, you know, what do I do? And in the past, I've said, you know, I'm a midwife. Already, I have cut that, my audience down, because if I'm talking to a grandma or someone in their 50s, you know, they're shut off because they don't need a midwife. And so I've kind of changed that, and I want to keep it simple, because really what it all comes down to, and it took me a long time to be able to accept this, but what it all comes down to is we sell essential oils. We sell memberships to it, but in the end, that's what that residual income is them continuing to purchase essential oils and to get on board as a business. So in the end, we sell essential oils. But so what I've kind of turned that into is when someone asks me what I do, I say, well, because I want to relate it to them. You know how healthcare is so expensive and everyone's concerned about their health. Well, I sell essential oils and teach people how to use them so they know they have options. And what does that do? That opens the door right away. I have every targeted audience right there. And then I can zoom in and make that more personal about them. So when I'm out and about and someone asks me what I do, that's what I would say. So my first challenge to you is come up with like 2 or 3 lines. I mean, seriously, so simple. That's going to be our keyword today, is simple. Keep it simple. Is come up with something that you can say comfortably, that you memorize, so that when someone asks you what you do, you can be confident and comfortable in telling them what you do. And so the reason I say I sell essential oils is because I want to let them know right off the bat, they can get them from me. I can hook them up. How, you know, we know we're going to hook them up with a membership so that they can get the best price, but we don't need to go into all that detail in the very beginning. We just want to let them know I can help you. And so that's what I say. And then, so I was at, then how do you turn that into an appointment? Because in the end, that's what we want to do, right? We want to turn that into an appointment, whether it's over the phone, a Zoom call, in person, invite them to an event, whatever that looks like, we want to turn that into some sort of a appointment. And so how do we transition from what do you do to great, when's the best time to meet? You know, what does that transition look like? And so I have a script that I've used. Let me tell you, some of this information that I'm giving you comes from the Emerge Sales Training Program. I have invested in that and have loved it. And so I'll be putting more information on our Facebook group about that, but I just want to let you know right up front, this isn't from, you know, some of this is my own, you know, personal way of doing things, but a lot of it I've gotten from the Emerge Sales Training, which is a fantastic program to help you feel confident in enrolling and selling essential oils. So one of the things that I learned is doing I call it a usually approach. So somebody asked me, what do you do? Okay, I was at a church event before Christmas, a church Christmas party, and somebody said, you know, they know that I already do essential oils. I'm kind of known for that, as I'm sure many of you are. And so they said, you know, I have this I have some sleep issues. I'm not sleeping at night. Do you have an oil for that? And I kind of laugh. Of course I have an oil for that. Usually what I do, I'm going to just tell you, like word for word what I say. I say, as a matter of fact, I have a lot of oils for that that might help. Usually what I do for people is set up a quick appointment, go over your health goals and a little bit about the company and the most popular kits. My part takes about 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything, but of course, if you see something you like or something intrigues you, then I'm happy to help you order that. Is that something you'd be open to? And at this Christmas party, sure enough, she was. And I said, awesome. Of course, she'd live down the street. So it was easier for me just to go over to her house. But typically I might say, I can do this by Zoom or in person, or I have a class scheduled at, this date, which would work better for you. And then I say, I'm trying to get a couple more appointments this week. Can we do, Wednesday in the afternoon, like say 2-ish, or Thursday at 7, which works better for your schedule. So how does that sound? Does that feel like that's something that you could easily do to transition do you have something for this? Do you have something to help with, headaches? Or my granddaughter has this going on. I do. I have several oils for that. Usually what I do is set up an appointment, blah, 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 blah. How does that sound? Does that sound like something that might help you transition? Because I know we all have that. Surely you've been asked many times, do you have an oil for this? Or I have this issue. So that's my first little tip, is trying to transition, actually my second, because the first one was to get your little spiel in what you do down. Be confident in it, very simple. Then second, create that usually transition so that you can create that appointment. And again, very, very simple. That was short and simple. I'll tell it to you one more time. Usually what I do is set up a quick appointment to go over your health goals, tell you a little bit about the company and the most popular kits. It takes about 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything. So right there, I'm making sure there's no pressure. But if you do like something, of course, I'll be happy to help you with that. Is that something you're open to? And of course, they're going to say, sure. Awesome. I can do it by Zoom or in person, or I'm having an event, which would work for you. Great. I'm trying to get a couple more appointments this week. So, does this time or this time work better for you? And if you need that you can go over this recording to get that down just a little bit further. But that has worked every time. So just to give you the end of that story, when I went to that appointment, I set it for the very next morning. And when I went to that appointment, I left with a $300 enrollment. Or 300 PV enrollment. So that was exactly what, it was a win-win for both of us. And they're so happy. And since then, now I'm getting with them to do a wellness consult to set up their loyalty rewards order. And we've already talked more about what oil, I think I need this oil and this oil now. So anyway, so there you go. Okay. So when you do go to enroll someone or, close them, if you will, first of all, there are 3 things I want you to keep in mind. So first of all, keep it simple. Remember, keep it simple, simple, simple. And listen to them and know doTERRA lingo. So I usually do one-on-ones. I started out doing classes. I did classes for years. I still do classes for my leaders and for, when I travel and that. but when I personally enroll, it's usually a one-on-one. And so, and you know, there's lots of doTERRA language that they can get really confused with. And so you want to make sure that you don't use all that doTERRA language. Who has a hard time? I mean, okay, I'll just say I do, first of all. I used to be able to keep the family physician kit straight. That's the small bottle kit. That's easy. I could always remember that. And then we had the home essentials, and now I don't even remember them all. But now family physician has been changed. So we have home essentials, family wellness. I forget the difference between them all. And so I know that every oil kit and the diamond kit, and the sharing kit, who can forget those? But some of them I have a really hard time with. Can you imagine someone that is new to doTERRA, new to oils? They're trying to keep these kits, the name of these kits straight, and that can be, you know, difficult, even for me, who's very experienced and seasoned in doTERRA. So what I do is talk about the small bottle kits and the big bottle kits. Who can relate to that? That's like so easy. And that also puts in their mindset that, you know, the better values. So the big bottle kits have 3 times as much oil in them than the small ones. So just little things like that, you want to make sure that you keep it simple. And then ask questions, getting them to start talking and sharing. Because as they're talking and sharing, you can mentally solve problems while they're chatting without them even realizing them. And so you might lead them, you know, into like, you know, what can I help you with? What's going on with your, you know, your health right now? How is your sleep? How's your digestion? Digestive system? What's your pain and stress level look like? So, you know, and tell me, you know, what you or your family members want to accomplish. So those are kind of questions that you can lead into to ask what's going on. Now, if they start out with, do you have an oil for sleep? I'm having sleep issues. Well, you already know right off the bat, that's something you're going to talk about. And then as you're talking to them, you're going to want to be thinking of how I can solve oils with the top 10, or how I can solve problems with the top 10 oils. So this is key because, again, you want it, as we go further, you're going to want to keep it simple, and you're going to only want to offer 2 kits, a small bottle kit or a large bottle kit. And as you get more seasoned and more comfortable and more confident, then you can go into those bigger kits. Or if you have someone that, you know, already starting off, they want to do the business, then of course you're going to lead in with a business kit. But for the most part, that's how you're going to do that. And so you want to make sure that they can accomplish whatever they want to accomplish with those top 10 oils. And honestly, that's pretty easy to do. But when you get oils like, you know, that aren't in that top 10, now it kind of gets a little bit complicated. And so just to start out with, again, think of problems that you can solve, how you can solve those problems with the top 10 oils. And again, you're going to be taking notes as you're talking to them, even if it's in person, so that afterwards, now this is key because you can tag them in Instagram or Facebook posts or things like that, in things that they already said are of interest to them and that they want to do better with. So let's go into, now you've shared your, what oils will work for them. You've shared, or you've done your event, you've gone over the top 10 oils, again, very quickly. And I keep my classes or my appointments to, between 30 and 45 minutes, because you don't want to lose them. And if you're taking any more time than that, you're giving them too much information and not keeping it simple enough. So again, just that's another key point, to keep that appointment or your part really at a minimum. That 30 minutes is ideal. And then, sometimes they're chatty Cathy and that gets, you take a little bit longer, but just as a general rule. So then I say, so here's the best way to get them at the best prices. We have 2 starter kits, a small bottle kit and a big bottle kit. Both come with the most popular top 10 oils that will make over your family's bathroom cabinet. And they're perfect oils for all the things that we just talked about. And then of course you're going to repeat what they just talked about. So for like sleep, there's, we have lavender. That's awesome to help for sleep, or, whatever they've got, whatever their issues were. And then you say, so if you were to get one of these, which one would you prefer? The small bottle starter kit with about 80 drops per bottle for $150, or the big bottle kit that's about 250 drops, so 3 times as much for $275. And then stop talking. Let them tell you which one they would prefer. And then I say, great, let me tell you about my first appointment special. This is where I give a free reference guide or a free roller bottle blend by becoming a member on our very first visit. Which would you prefer? A free reference guide or an abundance blend? And I usually do an abundance blend. And then I say, okay, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you this question. If I didn't ask you this question, would you like to order that big bottle kit with the reference guide for free? And, they'll either say yes, or they have, they can't do it right then. And so they bring a problem up. So then I'm going to troubleshoot, like I call these my no problem examples. No problem. The small bit, like they say, that's a little, $275 is a little more than I was thinking I would be spending. That's a little out of my budget. We get that a lot, right? So no problem. A small bottle kit is a great kit, and it's just $150. It comes with the small bottles, and then you can still get your free roller bottle blend or the reference guide, whichever you prefer, which works better for you. Or they might say, I'm sure, how many of you get, I have to talk to my husband about this first, or I have to talk to my spouse about that. Certainly that's a reasonable response. So I say, no problem. I totally get that. Let me mention our Husband Don't Kill Me kit or the Baby Steps Sample Trio kit. It comes, you can pick whichever wording works for you. It comes with 3 amazing oils. Actually, these are my 3 go-to oils every day. And it's only $55, so you can get started using the oils while you're saving up for that big bottle kit that you really wanted. And the great thing is that you also get the free reference guide or roller bottle that you wanted anyway. So how does that sound? Does that work for you? And so again, you're dropping down to whatever, if budget is an issue, which it oftentimes is, then you're dropping down to what may work for them. So there's times that we've gone to other parties, like you go to a Mary Kay party or a Tupperware party or Pampered Chef or whatever, and oftentimes there's things that we buy there, and we don't feel like we have to go home and talk to our spouse, or that isn't in the budget. We can always find something little. And so that's what we're doing here, is we're just finding something small to remember, get them in the door so that we catch them at the tip of that roller coaster before they fall down. And then when they do close, I deliver a goodie bag, or I ship them one, whichever that works, because I like to surprise and delight my members with with that great loyalty and customer service right from the very get-go. And so things that I include in that is whatever they choose, whether it be a reference guide or an abundance blend, whichever one. And then I do all the samples. So I would do a toothpaste sample, one or two of those, one or two of the deep blue samples, throat drops, both the Breathe and the On Guard. I do a PB Assist Junior and shampoo and conditioner sample. And the Slim and Sassy gum, I take that and cut it into like 4s or 2s, whichever I have, depending on my amount. And on the back of it, I write Slim and Sassy gum, so they know that it's gum. And then, probably you all, like me, unless I'm the only one, has 20 extra lip balms around, because I've had to just put on something little to add up to that PV that I need, and it's usually a lip balm. So I pop in a lip balm in there too. So and a little, congratulations, I'm super excited for you to join my team. So I do a little thought, on a little card, and give them a little sample goodie bag. They get that and they are thrilled. So they usually get that before they get their oils. So because I'm on it, I'm sending that out right away. So they're getting that within 2 or 3 days. And a new enrollment usually takes a few extra days for that first enrollment to come in. So there's my little goodie bag that I do. There's so much more information that I could share, but again, I don't want to overwhelm you. I want to keep it simple. So I've given you 3 or 4 different pretty strong ideas. So the first one is to create your elevator pitch, if you will, but even that, I want it more simple than that, what you do. And then your usually approach, how you're going to word what you're going to say when someone asked you, do you have an oil for this, to transition that into an appointment. And then your close, and keeping that super simple with those troubleshooting, no problem ideas in there. No problem. How about, I totally get that. I understand. And then go into that drop down menu. Is this making sense for you guys? Is this helpful to have this information? I've been really successful in turning anyone that I talk to, pretty much most anyone that I talk to about essential oils, into an appointment. And then from there, it depends whether that goes, turns all the way into an enrollment or not. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I got a new computer at Christmas and went into the Apple store, and the salesperson that helped me, the sales guy that helped me, was adorable. And he said, I enrolled in their business plan that Apple has. And so he says, well, what do you do? And I got to use my quick little speech. Well, how healthcare is so expensive. I sell essential oils and teach others how to use them and help you to know that you have options. And he says, awesome. I just bought my wife a lavender essential oil when I went at the honey store. They had essential oils on the shelf, and I knew she liked, she said she'd wanted some essential oils. So I got her a lavender. So I knew, I'm taking mental note. Oh, he went to the honey store and he found a lavender off the shelf. So it, probably wasn't doTERRA. And so I asked, do you know what the brand? He says, no, I have no idea. And I says, well, I do a drawing every week, and I would love to enter you or your wife into my drawing for a free essential oil. And if, she likes them, great. Well, he got my information, and I think I shared this already, but anyway, he gave me his information, and I was able to call and transition that into an appointment. I actually sent them an email with a with my usually approach, and then transferred that into an appointment. So I have an appointment with them. How cool is that? It works. What I'm saying is it works. You just have to be you have to be confident and comfortable with what you're saying. And in order to do that, memorizing is the best way to do that, because when you talk off the fly, sometimes you can get on and on and on and kind of go into a tangent, and really you want to keep it simple. So memorizing, writing down your personal script and then memorizing it is key. So, okay, I hope that's been helpful. I'm not seeing any questions, so I've either totally overwhelmed you or I've hit every spot and you're just good to go. So if you do have any thoughts or questions, I'll open it up for just a minute. We're just about at our 30-minute mark, so I want to honor that and honor your time. But hopefully this has been helpful. And then as we go further, and other times that I host this call, I'll go into more, more and more scripts and more things that I've learned from Emerge training. And then I'm happy to share that training with you as well. They're willing to, the Emerge staff is willing to come on and do a little webinar for us, a Zoom call for our group, to help tell you what it's more about and help with your individual needs. So if you're interested in that, please do a hands up so that I know to set that up or not, and we can go from there. So okay, any last minute questions, comments?
Thanks, Stephanie, for the Slim and Sassy gum in the goodie bag and the lip balm. I put in Deep Blue and things like that, but I hadn't even thought about those things. So thanks for that.
Yeah, and you get a lot of gum in a Slim and Sassy box that's really cheap, and so that's a great thing to pass along. So I do have a question. This is great, Amber, because what do we do with no shows? So, okay, I'm going to give you a little bonus here, because I was going to save that for another time. But when we have, we often will set an appointment with someone, and whether it's, again, in person or Zoom or on the phone, and we're waiting to connect with them and they don't show up. So what do you say? So this is what I say. Hey, we weren't able, I just send them a text. So I say, hey, or, I might call them on the phone and leave a message, but generally I just send a text. So, hey, we weren't able to connect today, but actually it worked out for me too, because I have been slammed, and this gave me some extra time to catch up. But I know your health goals are important, so let's set up another time that works. I have Tuesday at 3 or Thursday at 7. Let me know which works best for you, and I'll shoot you a quick, text too. That's if I call them, or I leave that off if I don't send them a text. So how does that sound? I'm making sure that I don't want to make them feel bad. And so I just let them know, what, it worked out fine for me too. I was super slammed with stuff, so it gave me a chance to catch up. But I know, what your health concerns are important, so let's set up a different time. So does that, is that helpful, Amber, to do when someone doesn't show up? Great. All right. Any other questions? That was a bonus. So I have to say something for the next time. All right. You guys have, what's that?
I got a text from one of y'all that you want me to do a giveaway. So I have a giveaway.
Oh, sweet.
So the rule, this is one from Romy, that you have to have your camera on to be entered. So
I love that.
Getting our cameras on. So it's actually a Citrus Bliss bath bar. I'm going to give you guys just a second before I pull my random number. Oh, we have a few on. Okay, Dana Bell, you are the winner. So will you please just shoot me your address?
Awesome. And Dana was one that just turned her camera on.
Oh, she's had it on, I think.
Oh, she has. Okay. I just saw a name there. Awesome. Okay, so in our group this week, let's have some interaction on what your thoughts have, what you're coming up with your scripts, how you're personalizing your scripts that you're saying. So your little quickie identification, this is what I do. Let's see some of those in the comments, because what I say for me might not work for you, and you might not feel as comfortable saying that. So, and once you see what others are saying, maybe that will help. Maybe that will spark some sort of interest for you. So let's, in the group chat, in our Facebook group, let's have you put some of your thoughts in there, and be proactive in that. All right, you all have a great week, and we'll see you next week.